Okay. My dear colleagues, you are all welcome. I hope you are fully prepared for today's activity. Please, we are sorry for starting behind schedule. It's not intentional, but the way I'm saying, I'm 100% sure we're fully prepared for today's session. So I welcome you once more. Now, before we continue, please, I would love to recognize the presence of National HOD Creative Art in person of Ms. Hannah Lawrence. You are welcome, please. Can you put your hands together for her, please? Very good. Then, please, I would love to see all head of department here, not national, but the state head of department. Please, you can join her there, please, so you can support her, please. Put your hands together for them, please. Yes, please. Please join Ms. Anna there in front. Then, please, as you all know, as usual, please, the sitting arrangement, I'm not so comfortable. So if you wouldn't mind, please, can you adjust a little, please? Thank you as they are doing that, please. Very good. Now we are starting, but before then, please let me welcome others joining us from other session. I want to recognize the presence of those in Yobe. Can you put your hands together for them, please? Those from Kaduna and those from Kano. You're not clapping for them. Very good. Then those from Lagos. Please sit down, relax, and enjoy the day, please. Our guest spokesperson for today is no other person but Mr. Emmanuel Kolawole Ikikiola. Put your hands together for him, please. You're welcome, please. Mr. Emmanuel, I think you can just come up straight. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for the introduction. I want to address everyone that is present here. I want to thank NTIC for this privilege to be here once again. Sorry, I'm trying to mute. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to mute my phone. All right, so I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for this privilege to be here once again. This is our second time coming to NTIC. I want to thank all the head teachers that are here. Thank you so much for this privilege. Also, I want to address our online audience. I was informed that all the branches in Nigeria are here. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. First of all, I would like to introduce myself properly, as it were. My name is Kolawole Emmanuel Okikiola. I'm a graduate of NTIC. Just for our information, so I graduated 2015 from boys boarding, and I went ahead to study human anatomy from University of Ilorin, and currently I'm doing my master's in public health in University of Bingham University. We all know Bingham University, right? All right. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. So the topic I was given this morning is actually something that is very close to my heart, and is actually a journey or a work that we have been doing for a while now in Nigeria. And I know that many of us, the teachers, are familiar with this topic. So it's going to be a conversation between us. We're going to be learning from each other. And I would also like feedbacks from the audience online. All right, so first things first, we were here sometime a month ago thereabouts to give a workshop on dyslexia, right? How many of us were here? All right, thank you so much. So we're here to give a workshop on dyslexia, and I introduced our organization, Reach Out Dyslexia. So I'll just go through this. The first one is, who are we? Reach Out Dyslexia. And we are a non-governmental organization that is registered in Nigeria. And what we do is we create awareness on dyslexia. Are we together? Are we together? So we create awareness on dyslexia. We provide intervention by supporting those that are dyslexic. And why do we do this? It's because the prevalence of dyslexia is much. It's 1 in 5, according to different studies. For some countries, it varies. For some, it might be 10%, for some 15, for some 17, for some even 20. So 1 in 5. And we discovered that a lot of people don't know about dyslexia. I, for one, got to discover what dyslexia means in my final year in university. So imagine how many years it took me to actually get to know the nitty-gritty of what dyslexia really means. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So I went through the primary school, the nursery, primary, and secondary school. So it was in my final year in the university that I got to know what dyslexia really means. And I discovered that I actually had some of those symptoms while I was in secondary school. So that's why we create awareness about dyslexia, because it is something that goes unnoticed, and we don't really create so much accommodation for those that are dyslexic. And so that's who we are, and why. I've already explained why we started, and when can we say that we've made it? I actually journaled this while I was preparing, because I wanted to connect the topic. I wanted to drive it home with a connection that is actually personal, as it were. So when can we say that we've made it in our advocacy, as it were? So what we actually intend to do is not just in Nigeria. As you can see here, it means to reach out to 1 billion dyslexics. I know many of us would think that, is that possible, right? I know many of us would think of it that, okay, what is even the population of the world? And we want to reach out to 1 billion dyslexics. By the grace of God, I was just checking how many people we've reached so far. And in the last 1 year, because we just did our 1-year anniversary, we've been able to reach about 10,000 people in 1 year. So, and you see, thank you, Ma. So we've been able to reach about 10,000 people through our school-to-school advocacy that we go to, and that was how we even came to NTIC in the first place, and then through social media. Please, I'm trying to just bring us to a point where we enter into the topic for today. So we've been able to reach about 10,000 people. For some, they know about dyslexia. For some, they don't know. For some, they have grounded knowledge about what dyslexia means. For some, they don't know. But because of our advocacy that we've been able to do, we've already struck a desire in their hearts to know what it really means and how they can be a part of the movement. So, so how can we do it? Is by making and enforcing policies that favor dyslexics. For every advocate that goes out to advocate about one. So when there are policies that actually favor dyslexics. So that is the end game of the whole thing. Now you will be looking at it, I'm saying teachers here, and then you'll be like, am I trying to cajole you? Now I'll tell you why I put these things there. So it is for parents and teachers to really understand what dyslexia means. Because many of us have a shallow knowledge of what dyslexia is. Even I myself, I'm still learning about it. I'm still reading articles. I'm still trying to get more knowledge. And the aim is to be able to help these individuals, as it were, to come to the same level with those that are normal or typical readers, as it were. So that is the aim. Now, let me talk about NTIC. Are we excited? Are we excited about NTIC? Can we clap for NTIC? Can we clap for NTIC? I'm trying to engage us. All right, so as you all know, NTIC is the right environment for learning, right? Right? Is NTIC the right environment for learning? Yes. Do we believe it? Yes. All right, so NTIC is the right environment for learning. For me, it's not just another norm or something that we just say. It is actually true. And let me tell you why. I'm talking from personal experience. I remember when we started going out on outreaches, and go to different schools with proposals that we wanted to come to create awareness on dyslexia. Now, there were a lot of biases about dyslexia in the first place. And a lot of schools were scared about us coming to their school to give their students and their teachers awareness on this particular topic. And, well, there are reasons that they had. I wouldn't say they can be justified, but to their own knowledge, you can actually justify them. But on a larger scale, this is actually things that we are lagging behind as a nation. As a nation, we are actually lagging behind in the knowledge of these things. So, NTIC is a front runner, is a pace setter. Because for you to even be having this kind of seminar for teachers, I believe, I think I heard that the seminar, it is the 3rd annual seminar, right? So it is not a small thing to bring teachers together, to have this kind of retreat. We are bringing teachers together to be able to achieve their goals effectively. Because I'm sure every teacher here has a goal for probably the term or for the session, right? 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 And many teachers want to do better than they did last session. So this retreat, as it were, is for you to recalibrate, for you to reset, for you to know the things that work and the things that don't work, to look for better strategies to be able to apply in the classroom. All right, so the teachers, like I said, the teachers are the best teachers around. Do you believe that? Are you the best teachers around? So we don't believe that we are the best teachers around. Let me tell you a story. Mr. Absalam is not here. How many of us know Mr. Absalam? Okay, he's online. No, he's not here physically, but I know he's online. So I want to tell a story. I think 2011, 2010, when we were in JS 2, Mr. Absalam taught me in JS 1, JS 2. So I remember a story of when we went to Nagari Farms. How many of us know Nagari Farms? Nagari. How many of us know it? Farms. Nagari Farms. I know he's hearing the story. All right. So now, why am I telling this story? Mr. Absalam is a very passionate teacher, and He's someone that when I think of the teachers that taught me in NTIC, I'm not trying to cajole him, it's the truth. Okay. So he took us on an excursion to Nigerian farms, and I can remember all the experience that we had, everything that we had, because he was teaching us agricultural science then, and I could relate the things that we learned in class to the things we were seeing. And he took one teacher to say, oh, why not just organize like a picnic, or for us to actually go and see what we are learning. Saying this is that beyond what we are even going to talk about today, which is a very key thing, there are actually, in Nigeria as it were, we don't learn practical, like we just learn theoretical things, not much of practical, and that is not helping the matter. It's like one fits all method. So whatever works for this person would also work for this person, which is not true. All right, thank you. So did you get my story? So I'm saying that I might not be able to remember many things I learned in Agric. I might not be able to learn many things I learned in economics and all of those things. But that experience stuck. That experience stuck. Now, moving to the topic we have today, neurodiversity, inclusion, and differentiation in the classroom. Neurodiversity, inclusion, and differentiation in the classroom. So looking at this topic, I'm sure many of our teachers already have things in our mind. I don't know, can we engage like from the start? Please, do we want to engage? All right, so I would like 3 teachers to tell me what they understand by neurodiversity, inclusion, and differentiation in the classroom. So they have the online audience too can maybe put something on the chat box. So what do you understand by neurodiversity, inclusion, and differentiation in the classroom? They have 3 teachers. Please, if you want to help us, can you just signal by raising up your hand? All right, we have someone there. Thank you, Ma.
Okay, I will have to try. Not that I really know it.
Go ahead,
I know
Ma.
that neuro has to do with brain, and then diversity, which is coming from all walks of life. So inclusion, meaning you have to try and include all the children in your plan, in the class. Your teaching style should be able to include all the children in your class, both those that are dyslexic and those that are not, and all of that. That's because children don't learn in the same way. Some they learn in different ways. So differentiation now has to come in, where you differentiate your lessons. So I think that's my...
All right, thank you, Ma. I actually wanted you to answer one, then the next teacher, but I think she has answered all. But do we have anyone that still wants to try? Maybe a male teacher now. Do you have any male teacher that wants to try? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Like the auntie said, neurodiversity, like when you remember neuroscience, various ways of abstracting knowledge, getting information, processing information, or understanding. So how do we apply it to the classroom? Various ways that learners understand when a teacher is teaching. There are diverse ways of doing it. And then inclusion also. How do we make sure that everyone is carried along in the classroom to make sure that all understand in their own different abilities or different ways? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
Differentiation, the way the teacher does this.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Can we celebrate the both of them? Thank you so much. So we'll be going into the topic. I think they both said the right things. They both said the right things about neurodiversity, inclusion, and differentiation. So going into the topic. All right. So can we see the diagram? Can we see the diagram? What is going on here? Please, can we give her the mic, please?
Okay, I said it looks like someone is knitting the brain.
All right. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much. Please celebrate her. It's not easy to talk. All right. So we see in this diagram that someone is sewing a brain, knitting a brain, like she said. Now, every brain learns differently. So different needs, same potential. Do we believe this? That different needs, same potential. There is something I normally say that there is no dull person. There is no dull person. You just need to learn how they learn. So it is actually a task for even the teacher. You need to learn how they learn. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But at least we'll be learning some things today. Now, teachers hold the power to unlock or to limit. So this is the power that teachers hold. This is the, there is so much power in the hands of teachers. And anytime I have this opportunity or privilege to address teachers, I don't take it for granted. Why? Because even my mom is a teacher. Yes, and she just retired, 35 years in service. So just a shout out to her. All right. So teachers hold the power to unlock or to limit. Now look at these statistics. 95% of children with disabilities in developing countries are out of school. 95%. Developing countries. Where does Nigeria fall? Where does, please, I want to hear us. Where does Nigeria fall? No, Abba. All right. So, this is the statistics. And you see, for many of us that are living in urban communities, as like here, we might not really know what is going on. Down, we normally say down. Do you understand? So, we don't know what is going on. That's why you see most of these international organizations, they always have pictures that they display. You just hear they've gone to maybe Yobe, they will just mention one place, and you'll be like, is this place really in Nigeria? For those that are here, actually, for those that are in urban communities like this. So 95% of children with disabilities in developing countries are out of school. There is no provision, there is no accommodation for them, and it is very alarming. So we need to put that at the back of our mind, even as we go on. Then in Nigeria, see the statistics, 10.5 million children are out of school. 10.5 million children. 5 to 7 million likely have disabilities. And most of them, they are dropouts. They had difficulties while they were learning, and there was no one to meet their needs, and they got discouraged. You will hear some things like school na scam. Have you heard that quote before? So, these are difficulties that, the reason why they are saying that is because they were not able to meet a teacher to inspire them. They were not able to meet a teacher that could help them to learn their own way. Because different children have different ways they learn. Even siblings, take for instance, we don't even have the same fingerprints. If I lock my phone now, my brother cannot unlock it. And we are siblings, same blood flows through our vein. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So different children have different ways of learning. So as teachers, we need to put this at the back of our mind, because it is easier said than done. It's when you get to the classroom that you begin to encounter these difficulties. And most of the teachers, they don't know how to handle it. And it's true. It's true. We can sit here, talk about neurodiversity as it were, but then the application matters too. The application matters. So equity is giving every child what they need to meet the same high expectation. To meet the same high expectation. Equity. So the teachers have a lot of work to do. A lot of work. You see, teachers shape society. That is a high calling, as I like to call it. Is a high calling. Teachers shape societies. So we are really happy, and we are really glad to have you as our teachers. So we don't take it for granted. It's a high calling, like I said. So I mentioned equity. There's difference between equity and equality. Do we all know that there's a difference between equity and equality? Can someone help us with what it means? Because we are focusing on equity here. Can someone help us? Please, let's engage together. I want this side. Someone from here. Equity. Anyone? Let's just try. Let's try. Okay, thank you, Ma.
Okay, the difference between equality and equity is in equality, you're giving everyone the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, equality is I'm giving every child one pencil to write with. But equity means giving everyone what they need. Say, for example, everyone is writing with a pencil, but another child's handwriting is better in a pen. So I'll give them that pen because their handwriting is better. Another child doesn't like to write with a pencil or doesn't like to write, so I can give them drawing to do instead. So that's equity, giving every child what they need.
Thank you so much. Can we celebrate her? It's like she's going to go with all my gifts. All right. So, like she explained, equality is giving them equal opportunity. Equal. So when I'm giving, there's this common analogy that we use. It's like when 3 children are watching a football match over a fence. Now, one is, they have different heights. So one is the tallest, one is taller, and one is tall. So equality means I would give them a stool of the same size, right? Equality. That's equality. I'll give them this stool. I would give each of them the same height. That's equality. So for someone that is tall or the least among them might not still be able to see, they have empathy. There are skills that you begin to learn when you start doing all these courses like project management and the likes. They will tell you to learn empathy. Even for an administrator, you need to learn these skills. Even for a teacher, we are still going to look at it. Do you understand? But I'm just talking about where it is more emphasized. in the society today. I hope our online audience are still with us. So it's a skill that has been added to LinkedIn. If you go there, check, you see it. Please don't go and add it if you are not sure you are dyslexic. All right. So now, what am I trying to say is that it was first of all seen as a defect, but now is a difference. Why? Because a lot of people have come to understand what it means. They've come to understand the difference between different brains. I'll be looking at it because there are important differences that we need to pay attention to even in our classrooms. So neurodivergence versus neurodiversity. We'll go to the definition. So neurodiversity is the umbrella joined in 2000. These are just history. And neurodivergence is an individual whose brain diverges significantly from what the society calls typical. Like I said, we have dyslexic readers, we have typical readers. Do we understand? Do we understand? For a dyslexic reader, you might need to give him maybe 5 minutes to read a passage. But for a typical reader, you might just need to give him 2 minutes or 1, and he'll be done. One of the things I mentioned it the last time I was here is that I dreaded while I was in secondary school was passage reading. So anytime, I think it was Mr. Schreiber that was teaching us then, anytime he came to class then, I didn't look forward to passage reading. And in my exam, when you're asked to write an essay, I don't think I ever got anything higher than 7. Yes, it was like the benchmark. So whenever I check my results, English was always the least. And that's because I wasn't confident. I knew I had difficulties. Most times I might be reading a comprehension, I'll jump from the first line to the third line, and then I'll have to go back to it. I think someone agrees with me. So I dreaded it, and I did not like reading out loud. So these are the things that our students, or our pupils as it were, these are the difficulties they're actually going through now, and they need someone to come in gap, and someone to intervene, as it were. So the definition is neuro, like someone said, it has to do with the brain. It has to do with the brain. So we need to understand that there's a difference in the brain formation. There's a difference. So the way my brain is formed, or the way it's formed here, is different from the way your brain is. You see some people, they say, oh, these people are gifted. You need to come to that understanding that it's not the same. It's not the same. So diversity, range, differences. So neurodiversity is the natural variation in how brains process information. So it's the natural. It's not like the child knows about it, because he didn't form himself. Like we saw someone knitting. So that's the creator knitting, as it were. So the mind shift, so this is what we are after today, is that we'll be able to bring ourselves to the point where we can intervene, where we can be a bridge for students that are different and those that are typical, as it were. So there's difference between the two of them. Now, these are the various divergences we have, neurodivergence that we have. The first one is dyspraxia. I know many of us have not heard of this before. So we have heard. Okay, we have heard. All right. I hope I'm safe. Okay, so dyspraxia. So motor coordination and planning challenges. That's the summary. I just want to summarize it. So since we said we've heard, I think it is straightforward, as it were. Then dyslexia, difficulty reading, writing, spelling, and is an unexpected difficulty. Normally, you expect the child not to have difficulty with this. But when the child starts coming up at an early stage, 3 years, 2 years, you see that they lag behind. And they need someone to help them, someone to be able to diagnose them, as it were, to know this is what they're actually going through. But majority of those children, they go through primary, through secondary, and they don't even know what is wrong with them. There was this outreach we went for in a school around area 2, area 3. And after our presentation and everything, we had a session with the teachers, and there was a man, I think he's like the oldest among them. He told us that everything we said today, this is the first time he's hearing about dyslexia, and this was what he struggled with while growing up. So the system too needs to help us, as it were. The system needs to help. So dysgraphia has to do with writing and written expression difficulties. You see, the people that fall into this category, they are actually people that have, you see, their handwriting is not fine, as it were. Their handwriting is not fine. And they get a lot of backlashes, even from teachers. Am I right? Am I right? So they get a lot of backlashes from teachers. And I would also like to point that most of these difficulties or divergence, they actually link together. They are comorbid factors of each other. You see that someone that is dyslexic sometimes might have attention deficiency hyperactive disorder. Right? Yes, they are comorbid factors. So you see that someone that has this dysgraphia is actually dyslexic. So you could see different expression of this neurodivergence in someone that has dyslexia or dysgraphia or ADHD. So autism, this is, I feel this is the one that we are most, or we have most knowledge about, autism. Am I right? Am I right? And majority of those that are autistic are being tagged to be in a special school or special education needs and all of those things. So, and it is not meant to be so. Because you see that majority of people that have autism in developed countries where their needs are being met, there are people that come up with different ideas, come up with different breakthroughs in sciences and the likes. So what we are trying to do is to be able to give the students or the pupils that we come in contact with the same level ground. I was following the session yesterday. I don't know how many of us followed it. I was actually in school, so I was just following the session. And the speaker was talking about artificial intelligence. How many of us were here? Okay, it's the secondary school. So he was talking about artificial intelligence, how we have not been able to tap artificial intelligence the right way. There are things that we are actually meant to be using in our classrooms, like we are meant to be using them day in, day out, using it for those that have this difficulty, but that's after we've been able to identify them. That's after we've been able to identify them. So I'll just go through the remaining. Dyscalculia has to do with mathematics. So sometimes those that are dyslexic have these too. They have difficulty, especially the word problems. How many of us remember word problems? I know mathematics teachers are here. Word problems where you have to reason. You get what I'm saying? So they have difficulty with it. So neurodiversity is not learning styles. Some are lifelong. Others develop from environment, but all shape classroom behavior in ways we need to recognize. So as teachers, we need to be able to take hold of our classrooms. We need to be able to know what is going on. You know, for the administrators, if they need an information from maybe of a student, you know, teachers should be able to provide it effortlessly. And this can only happen if we are empathetic, as it were. Because, empathy means that you are coming to the point of those children. You are also living in their struggles. And then you'll be able to provide solution for them. So why the classroom environment matters? Why? Why does it matter? Because classroom is actually where the future of world leaders are being shaped. Future of industry leaders. Different personalities. So this is why it matters. Because you might think that not meeting the need of this person might not affect the society. Majority of the issue we have in Nigeria today, is as a result. Thank you, ma. So it's as a result of these things that we overlook. These little things that we actually overlook. So structure brings safety and predictability. So a teacher needs to have a structure. You need to have what works. And when I started this presentation, I talked about the reason why these seminars are being organized. It's so that we'll be able to retreat and visualize or bring together all the methods, all the strategies we've been using over time and see if they are working or not. And if you see that these strategies are not working, then you upgrade them. Then you look for ways to be able to include everyone in what you are doing in the classroom. So the classroom is not just four walls, desk, and board. It is either a bridge or a barrier. So it could be a bridge where students are being tagged lazy, where they are being tagged that they are dull, where they are being, there are some words that they are actually true. A lot of students, a lot of pupils, they are going through low self-esteem because of words that are being said to them. And these are things that we need to pay attention to. So the classroom is either a bridge or a barrier. So as teachers, you need to be able to choose what you want your classroom to be. Is it going to be a bridge or is it going to be a barrier? So in a supportive environment, they can flourish. They can flourish in an environment that is tailored to help them. They can actually flourish. They can do great things. Now, so true inclusion goes beyond accommodating the differences. So this is even going deeper. You're not just accommodating the difference. It means designing learning environments that work for diverse cognitive styles from the outset. Now, there are some things that the school might not be able to pinpoint that the teachers can recommend through study, because 1 hour is not exhaustive enough to even go through those things that needs to be put in place. But even as teachers, it is our responsibility to still go deeper. What are the difficulties that this person is going through? Why is this grade? I think one of the ways that you can be able to screen a child that is dyslexic, the easiest way is to go through their report sheet. Just go through their report sheet. You would see where they are, the issues they are having and how you can be able to help them. Because the goal of the teacher is that every one of his pupils or his students succeed. Right? Right? Not just in life, even at that moment in time. And it goes a long way. Now, I'll just read this because I want to talk about a model that we can also go back and check because I don't have much time again. So the first one, the practical strategy, is structure. Looking for a structure and predictability with flexibility. So it means you can tweak it. If this doesn't work, as a teacher, you can tweak it. You can decide that, oh, this is what works. This is what doesn't work. But you need to give it a try. You need to do try and error, as it were.
So, like the use of visual schedules. There are some students that forget assignments. They forget a lot of things. Am I right? They forget a lot of things. But merely seeing what you display to them, they remember most of these things. Then choice boards too. They are basically almost the same thing. So strength-based. Now, this is going to where their strength is. For some students, they like oral tests. They like presentation. For some, they like writing. Now imagine having a test where you know that this person, if I give you 20 minutes to answer this question, you might not be able to write anything. But if you tell that student to talk, he will be able to express himself or herself. So we need to look at these different methods. Then peer teaching. So pairing them together, they can learn from each other. I think one of the methods to help a dyslexic student is peer reading, whereby the parents pay attention, because the parents will have a lot to do. They have a lot of roles to play in helping those children to succeed. So peer reading is reading a part for them and then helping them as they are reading, correcting them, letting them hear the sounds. That's streamlined to to those that are dyslexic. For probably someone that have ADHD, can tell them to move around because they don't like to stay in one place. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. For some of them, when they sit down, they are always inconvenient. And you know it because these are things that are being displayed physically. It's not spiritually that you have to discern. So there are things that we see in our classrooms. So we need to look for structures. We need to look for strategies that can help them. Another thing is multi-sensory, and I'm sure many of our teachers are conversant with this. Multi-sensory simply means making use of all their senses to learn. Their eyes, their ears, even their taste. For some, just to tell them this is apple, you might buy apple for them. You know, just buy like maybe a carton from your pockets as a teacher, and you have 20 students in a class. You know, if you do that kind of thing, those students will never forget. Now, I'm just saying, that's a method. And, you know, you want to teach them maybe a comprehension. Pinpoint maybe the theme of the comprehension and base that study on it. It's just to bring them to the point where you achieve your goal, whereby everyone learns. So we have different, you have sound, air tracing. This is where you write on the sound. You can take them out to the playground, you know, just to teach them. Now, I want to point out that empathy and sympathy, they are not the same thing. Right? They're not the same thing. Beyond sympathy, empathy needs to come in place. Because sympathy might be like, oh, this child has a struggle with this. This child has a struggle with this. It is defined. You know it. But are you empathetical enough to fill that gap? Do we understand? Because I'm sure many of us, we have students in our class that even as this presentation is going on, their names are coming to your mind. And those things that they express, you'll be like, oh, okay, maybe this is why this person is having difficulty with this. There are some that you teach them the same way for like 5 times. And then they don't get it. You'll be like coconut head. You knock them. You know? So this is a way for us to know that empathy goes a long way. Empathy means you are solving their problem. And you don't know, you will find a way to solve it as a teacher. So it is a right thing for a school to be inclusive. One of the reasons why I praise the NTIC is because NTIC is inclusive. Yes, NTIC is inclusive. Can we celebrate our school? NTIC is inclusive. I hope our online audience are still with us. Because I remembered when I came and I had a meeting with the board and they said we were going to have a teacher's workshop. I discovered that even the principal knew a lot about dyslexia. He was even teaching me. Right? So and he was telling me about some experiences that the school had over time. So that's why I said NTIC is inclusive. I've gone to a school before where they sent us away. We went, they told us to bring a letter. We went after 2 weeks. We were calling. And we are spending our money. We are not asking you for anything. We just want to create awareness. And at the end of the day, they didn't give us the room. So that's why I said NTIC is inclusive. So the benefit is that there's better learning relationship, which in turn leads to less teacher burnout. Because when you master your classroom, it is easy for you. You even enjoy it. Right? You enjoy it. You don't go back home. Sometimes you won't even be tired because you are looking forward to the next day. That, oh, I'm going to help these children. Because that is the goal of a teacher. So reduced bullying. Like I said, many of those are dyslexic. They have low self-esteem because there are a lot of things that are being said to them. Oh, you are dull, you are this. And then even their friends say things about them. And they hear them. So it reduces bullying. And then inclusion done right benefits everyone in the classroom, both the students and the teachers. So higher teacher retention and classroom climate. So when you are able to master these things, it results to higher teacher retention and classroom climate. Okay, I'll just write this. But let me just, some of the challenges that probably we face, or the ones that I just want to point out for us to know that, okay, these things are actually challenges. The large class size, like I said, peer group reading can help with this. Because there are times you want to teach students and then they are like 20. But I don't think NTIC is like that. It is. Because I remember when we were in secondary school then, we were like 15 in a class, 16, okay, maybe the primary school. But then, so everybody, the teachers related with each of us on a personal basis. So the limited resources, like I said, we need to provide AI. We need to provide technology. We need to provide all of these things that would help. And then the time is short too. And the training gaps and parental misunderstanding. So the training gap is just something like this, where the teachers come to learn and then to furnish their skills, to sharpen their skills. Okay, so now this is the framework I was talking about as I round up now. Now this is the universal design learning framework. So it's a framework for success. So it encompasses almost everything that I've talked about already. From the peer group, from the using multisensory to teach them. So it encompasses everything. Now, the first one that we have is multiple means of representation. Multiple means of representation. Now, multiple means of representation. Okay. So for multiple means of representation, you have different ways that you represent things to the students. You have different ways. For some that you know that they have difficulties with, probably reading, writing, you might introduce text to speech. How many of us have heard of text to speech? Text to speech, speech to text. For some, you know, when you're teaching them in their classroom, they might not be able to retain everything you're saying, but they can record the classroom. They can record the lecture. They can go over it again. They can go over it again. And another thing I would like to say is, these 3 points, because I won't be able to go in depth because of time, they actually work hand in hand. They work hand in hand. But one thing I would like to emphasize more on is the artificial intelligence. How we can be able to use artificial intelligence to help us. For a student that is probably, maybe has dyscalculia, has difficulty with calculation, you know, there are some apps that we can recommend, even for the parents, as they go home. The school can provide a pad, you know, a learning pad, where everything that is being taught, every lesson that is being taught is being recorded, whereby they can go back and still get it. You know, you can have an app. The school can have an app where the teachers can do a summary of what is being taught per time, whereby when the student goes back, he has something to fall back to. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Do we understand? We don't understand. We understand, right? So the students can actually have something to fall back to. For some of the assignments that are being given, there can be like a pictorial presentation. So there can be like a graphical presentation. There can be something that they come to present. Some of them, they might not want to write it down. They might just come with maybe a PowerPoint and then they present. Do we understand what I'm saying? So let's give them different means of expression. Different means of expression, that's the engagement. Different means of expression. They express differently. They express themselves differently. So let's give them different means. So the way ahead, as I round up, inclusion is a journey. It's not a one-time fix. So it is a journey. It's a journey. So, you know, you can't fix everything at once. But make sure that you're trying your best to meet their needs at every point in time. Because, like I said, as teachers, our calling is actually a high calling. And then another way forward is the funding. I think I mentioned something about app, you know, I mentioned about recording. These are things that we need to fund. You know, the time too. Then continuous practical training like this. Like I said, this is the 3rd annual teachers seminar in NTIC. Can we celebrate NTIC once again? It's not easy to pull this kind of training together because, you know, a lot of teachers, like I said, I commended the teachers because the teachers are passionate. For you to be here, it shows passion. You know, during your holiday, you're still asked to come to school to have this kind of training. So, practical training. Then we should track the small wins. Let's track every change, every win. Like I said, this is a form of retreat for us to know what works and what is not working. And then for us to be able to apply what works in our work as we go on. So the real mindset shift is seeing inclusion not as extra work. So let's not see it as extra work. Let's see it as our responsibility, but as a different way of teaching that benefits everyone. So it benefits everyone, both the teachers and the students. For the teachers, you won't have any difficulty in engaging with your students if you understand these things. All right, so in conclusion, inclusion is not a favor we do for some students. Please, let's not see it as a favor. It's our responsibility. It is meant to be the standard. Now, in Nigeria, we have the practice of looking to other nations like the United States, like the United Kingdom, you know, for a lot of practices to be able to copy. But why not them copying us? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You know, why not them copying us? So we should not see it as a favor that we do.
It's a responsibility. So it is the future of education. Because when classrooms are designed for diverse minds, all students thrive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. Can we please appreciate him again, please? That's lovely. Thank you very much. Now, please, if you have question, you can write it down. When we come back, you ask a question, or you can ask your question now. I can see a hand up there. Then I'm also encouraging those from other two centers, please. If you have question, you can drop it on the chat board, please. The chat box, please. Those in Kano and Lagos, please. Now, I think we have come to the end of the first session, but notwithstanding, I think somebody have a question. Ms. Rama, can you give him a mic, please? Okay. When we come back from break, please, we can do that. But before then, please, we have a lost but found wristwatch. If it is yours, please indicate and get it. Now we are coming back here by now we're coming back here by 2:45, please. 2:45. Times against us, please. 1:45. And somebody saying 2:45. What's the time now, please? 1:45. We are coming back here, please. Thank you. Remember to write your question down so that when we come back, we'll start with the question. 1:45. Thank you. Please, those the two centers, please, we are going out for break now. We come back 1:45 to continue the second session. Thank you.
Something got a hold of me lately. Oh, I don't know.
Okay? Thank you.